I think that is where the real appeal of Hizmet movement lies, that it embraces people of all faith, all ethnic background, all cultures, and rather than preaching about Islam, through their work, they show the beautiful side of Islam, the peaceful side of Islam. Essays. I was impressed with the message. And I came to know and meet more people who are involved in this movement. Then in 2010, some of my friends My name is Mohammad Elahee. I'm a professor of international business at Quinnipiac University, which is in Hamden, Connecticut. I first came to know about this movement when I made a trip to Turkey back in 2006. I had a conference in Istanbul and Izmir. I went to those places and I met some people who were actually visiting one of my friends who is from Turkey, and my friend told me about this movement, told me about their activities, and I was really impressed. I've never seen any such movement in any other Muslim countries, and that is how I came to learn about Hizmet movement. I am very pleased with the type of work that Hizmet people are doing. I live in Connecticut, and there is a Turkish Cultural Center. A lot of people at the Turkish Cultural Center are involved with the Hizmet movement. They are promoting Turkish culture, Turkish cuisine. They are engaging in different types of philanthropic work. They are providing assistance to victims of natural disasters. They are also promoting education. So they are doing a lot of good work that unfortunately hardly any other groups, any other Muslim countries are doing. I personally believe that Mr. Fethullah Gulen will be considered in the future as one of the foremost thinkers and philosophers of Islam in the late 20th and early 21st century. I had the opportunity to read a few books on Mr. Gulen, and I also read a book which is a collection of Mr. Gulen's essays, and I was very impressed with the message of Mr. Gulen, how he promotes the idea of tolerance, idea of coexistence, how he promotes interfaith dialogue among people believing in different religions, how Mr. Gulen promotes the inner beauty of Islam and humanity. I was, to say the least, very impressed, and I think Mr. Gulen's movement is not just for the Muslim people, but for the entire humankind. As I told you before, that in 2006 I first came to know about the Hizmet movement. Then my wife and I attended some programs, workshops, and Abraham tables, which were basically interfaith dialogues that were organized by the Hizmet movement in Connecticut. And I came to know and meet more people who are involved with this movement. Then in 2010, some of my friends approached me about making a trip to Turkey with some other colleagues who were also at Quinnipiac University where I work. So with my colleagues, I made a trip to Turkey, and then Hizmet movement, thanks to the Hizmet movement, I was able to visit many different historic places in Turkey. We went to several cities such as Istanbul, we went to Izmir, we went to Konya, Cappadocia, we went to Caesarea, and in all these cities what we were able to see was not just some historic buildings and artifacts, but also the hospitality of the people, Turkish people. We could see how they embrace foreigners as their own, how they promote the idea of peace. It was a different Turkey. Before I went to those other cities, my exposure to Turkey was limited only to Istanbul. And Istanbul is like, any big cosmopolitan city like New York, London, Paris. And if one visits just Istanbul, yes, one can see a lot of history, but I don't think one can really understand the true meaning of the Turkish culture. So that trip really opened my eyes to another aspect of Turkish culture, the culture of hospitality, friendship. Those things I wouldn't have been able to witness had I not gone with my friends who were with the Hizmet movement. In fact, I think I was the only Muslim in the trip. Most other people who went there, they were either followers of Christian religion or Jewish. Some of them did not have any religion at all. And I think their perception about Islam changed as a result of that trip to Turkey. First of all, most people, because of various political reasons, have a wrong perception about Islam. In the past few years, a lot of terrorist activities carried out by different political groups in the name of Islam really tarnished the image of Islam. So most people view Islam as a somewhat backward, vengeful group of people. I think this trip allowed them, I mean the non-Muslim people who were with me in that trip, they were able to see the softer side of Islam. They were also able to see the rich cultural heritage of Islam. Unfortunately, many people do not know about the Islamic contribution to art, to architecture, to literature, and that trip opened their eyes. So I think that trip really showed the softer side, or soft power of Islam, if I can use that term, to non-Muslim people. What I really like about Hizmet people, they never talk about Islam in their program. Instead of talking, they demonstrate the true meanings of Islam through their work. So it is open to all people, to Muslims, to Christians, to Jewish people. In Connecticut, when I go to a program organized by people belonging to Hizmet movement, most of the visitors are not actually Muslim. They are non-Muslims, and they feel very comfortable there. Most people that I know, they do not want to hang out with other Muslims because somehow other Muslims would often try to preach them the message of Islam, or try to tell them how Islam is better than other religion, or maybe tell them something else about their own religion that they do not like. So in Hizmet movement, it's like a social movement. It shows how people from different religion, they can peacefully coexist, how we have more in common rather than more in contrast. So I think that is where the real appeal of Hizmet movement lies, that it embraces people of all faith, all ethnic background, all cultures, and rather than preaching about Islam, through their work, they show the beautiful side of Islam, the peaceful side of Islam. And that is why I think Hizmet movement will be a powerful force of change, an agent of change for the Muslims. It will change the perception of Muslims all over the world, and it will also make Muslims better Muslims. It will also allow Muslims to reconcile their religious belief with the challenges of modernity. There are different social and political movements in different Muslim countries. I think what really makes Hizmet stand apart from other movements, Hizmet doesn't work with any political agenda. Most other groups who are engaged in social or educational activities have either an overt or a covert political agenda. But Hizmet movement simply does it work. It does not promote any political agenda, nor does it engage any political propaganda. I think that is what makes Hizmet movement more appealing to others, more acceptable to others. Whenever we mix politics with social movement, that actually invites problem. We live in a world where only about 20% people are Muslims. So when 4 out of 5 people are non-Muslims, we have to find a way to reach out to them. Nowadays, when people are always changing their nationalities, they are immigrating to different countries, almost every single society is becoming more pluralistic, more diverse. So in this diverse, pluralistic world, we should not expect that we will be mixing only with the Muslims. For our own betterment, for our own benefit, we must socialize with people who do not necessarily believe in Muslim religion. We have to work with them, we have to live with them, we have to learn from each other, and it is therefore very important that we try to develop a greater understanding with people from other religious communities such as Christianity, Judaism, Hinduism, Buddhism, and it is not just greater understanding, also we must develop a greater appreciation of what they are doing. If we learn how to respect them, then they will also respect us. It definitely benefits Muslim people, because when Muslim people become more acceptable to others, then Muslim people would thrive in non-Muslim societies. If we look at some of the largest Muslim population and where they live, we'll find they live in non-Muslim countries. For example, after Indonesia, the largest Muslim population live in India, which is a non-Muslim country. In India, about 80% people are Hindu, only about 15% are Muslims. And in India, Muslim people are not necessarily treated well by their Hindu brethren. If the image of Islam is improved, if Muslim people have better understanding with people from other religion, and in the context of India, if they have better relationship with Hindu people, naturally Muslim people would be doing better in the society in terms of education, in terms of job, in terms of their upper mobility in the society. If we look at Europe, a large number of Muslim population from former European colonies, former British colonies, French colonies, they are immigrating to England, to France. There are also a large Muslim population in Spain coming from North Africa. So these people are living in countries which are not Muslim. And unfortunately in Europe, Muslims do not have, people do not have a good impression about Muslim people. So if there is greater understanding between Christian and Muslims, Muslim people would have greater acceptability in Europe. Now people do not want to give Muslim people jobs. People do not want to rent their house to Muslim people. So Muslim people face some practical problems. In the USA also, I remember before September 11, when American people did not know much about Islam, they didn't really care much what your background is, what your religious identity is. But after September 11, they started paying more attention. And many Muslims suffered discrimination. And in order to end those discrimination, and if not end, at least to minimize those discriminations, we need to have better understanding with people of other faith, other religion, so that they know who we are, what we represent. They know that we are not a threat to their way of life. And the sooner we can achieve that understanding, the better off we will be. By we, I mean the Muslims. It is absolutely necessary that Muslims reach out to other non-Muslims and engage in interfaith dialogue. 1/3 of total Muslims in the world live in countries which are non-Muslim.
Hizmet movement teach us how to talk together, how to talk together, how to share our view, to talk about issues without using violent ways, without using violent words. I think that's a very good thing.
I think Hizmet movement is the first Islamic movement that has been trying to spread education globally, not just in Muslim countries, but all over the world. And I think it has been very successful.